Well, good morning, everybody. This is DearMamaSal, and it's a 9-degree morning. I think it's about 48 in American. 9 degrees here in southern British Columbia. Oh, that's good. Very kind of the big guy upstairs to stop the traffic just as I needed it. I'm grateful. So how are you all doing today? I hope you're doing well. I had such fun yesterday. I hope that you all enjoyed the fact that you got 2 lots of video yesterday rather than 1, for those of you who enjoy that. And what fun to meet Alex in Mink, the coffee shop. It was really amazing because I was actually headed towards a different coffee shop, one that you all know, when Rowena from Laura's had said to me, no, try Mink just down here, if you would like to. And I thought, well, it's closer, so why not? Boy, am I glad I did. That was a really good cup of coffee. Never mind, what made it even better was the delightful response. Now, you need to know that I was sort of out of it at that particular time. You know, I walked in there with sort of only half a brain working. And those of you who were with me in Vegas know that half a brain working is pretty good for me. But you know what I mean? I was not really functioning on a meet and greet type situation at all. My mind was miles away. I'd had a long day, and I was about to... I needed the coffee because I needed to wake up so that I could be present for the seminar that I wanted to go to. So anyway, the good news was that I met Alex, and she was just so delightful. But, you know, the worst thing for me is that I cannot catch the look. And it happened to me when I went, if you remember, when I went to the Casbah spa that day. It's the look, when they realize who they're looking at. And probably my look must be the same when I realize they know who they're looking at. You know, so I went from being, yeah, I need a coffee, to, oh my God, she knows who I am. And then, of course, as Leah so correctly commented this morning, or whenever she made the comment, I didn't notice what time she made the comment, but which was, then the kid comes out. You know, my inner kid comes out to play then, because, you know, she's so excited because somebody knows who she is. And don't we all love acknowledgement? Well, I know some of you are going to go, no, I don't. That's okay. But the majority of people do like to be recognized. And it was the way that Alex did it that was so funny, because she sort of went, I know who you are. And I didn't realize that I turned away from that for a second, you know, because I just started to laugh, but I actually turned away for a split second, which she mimicked. And then I said, you do? And she said, yes, Mama Sal, I know who you are. And I'm a subby. It was so cute. Of course, now I've ruined my makeup again. But for all the right reasons. It was really adorably cute. And I never got to give her a hug. Oh, I'm going back anyway, so it's not a major thing. Just hope that I hit her shift. And I'm sure I'll go back more than once, so I'm not particularly concerned. But it really was a fun experience. And it was the way that she insisted on buying me a cup of coffee. And I'm going, no, 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 it's okay, really. She goes, no, this one's on me. And I went, okay. Well, did I feel so special? So you look at it and you go, sometimes when you least expect it, the cutest things happen. And yes, Leah, you're right. My kid was really a happy little camper. Let me get on to the reason I was out and about last night, which was to go to Laura's, which is this store close to where I live. They were running a seminar on your body type and okay. It's exciting. My mommy always used to say, hold your collar as an ambulance goes by. Not quite sure why that was. Must have been a good reason for it. I think I'm just turned into an ambulance chaser. Where was I? Body types, yes. So the idea was to be more aware of your body type and how to dress for that, which was really interesting. You know, now Yvonne and I both went for that because we thought it would be a fun thing for us to do together, because Yvonne works near there, and I thought, gosh, yeah, that would be fun for us to do. So here was the thing. We ended up with both of us having roughly the same body shape. As Yvonne calls it, you know, linebacker. No, I think Rowena had a much better word for it, which was inverted triangle. Which means that my shoulders are seriously bigger than my hips. And we all know I have very ample hips at the moment. It's got nothing to do with it. It has to do with your bone structure. So the whole thing is that I'm sort of why am I even going there? Heavier on top in terms of my frame. You know, I'm wider at the top than I am at the hips. Inverted triangle. So let me give you the example of what we learned, which a lot of you probably already know, but just in case you don't. In the case of an inverted triangle, you don't want to wear too many chunky things on top, you know, like epaulets and stuff like that, and chunky jewelry right up top, because you're already heavier on top. You want to really accent the lower part. That sounds really strange, the way I'm saying that. So in other words, everything that draws your eye away from the heavier part is a good idea. So that's, as you know, I wear a lot of long cardigans, I wear a lot of open neck shirts, because always the line is going down. Or, as I think Rowena talked about it, the arrow. You know, you're pointing an arrow, if you like, away from your heavier points. Now, it was really interesting because she sort of was going into the different shapes, and there are people who obviously have a regular triangle where their hips are bigger than their shoulders, or what they call, you know, the hourglass, for example, when, you know, you've got the shape of an hourglass, you know, sort of pretty even in terms of the top and bottom, but a nice tiny waist. You know, the people that really drive you insane. And yet, you know, it has nothing to do with weight. And that was the interesting demonstration that they were doing, because they, you know, had various people in the audience who were not necessarily skinny, but still were hourglass. So that was really interesting. And the other thing was wearing petite is not about being small. Wearing petite is about how your shape is. That's a whole nother discussion, and you really need to talk to that. If you've ever found that whenever you buy pants and things, that they just don't fit you in the right places, it may be that you need petite pants rather than regular. And as we heard last night, that, you know, there's one client that they have that's over 6 foot tall and petite in terms of her shape. Interesting. But what was the big aha for me? The big aha for me was when they started mixing in personality types and your clothes. Now, obviously they did the, you know, how to go away for a month's vacation with only, you know, so many pieces of clothing, which, you know, a lot of us already understand in principle. You remember when I cleared out my closet, what I was left with was very monochrome, black, red, and white, grey, black, red, white, and grey, and then quite a lot of tops, which, so two things. Number one, you remember I made the comment, and the reason I have those is because they all intermingle. Oh, and then I have what I call the brown section. And the brown section I don't have very much of, but I do. I was wearing, funny enough, brown pants yesterday. So I do have some brown, because, you know, you can get fed up wearing just red, black, and white all the time. But it was really interesting, because what was said, and I'd never thought about it before, is that really for my personality type, you know, I probably would be more likely to wear a lot of patterns and things, which I don't, as you know. I'm inclined to be pretty boring. No, I'm not. But my clothes choices are inclined to be pretty solid. You know, I don't have a lot of, you know, very busy, you know, floral tops or stripes or whatever. If you think about it, I nearly always have something pretty plain. And here's what I discovered, which was a big aha for me. Although my kid, that's what you got to look at. The kid in me is this personality, and we've discussed this before, you know, that is okay, I'm going to say it the way that it is. And just understand, this is not about whatever, you know, because the kid in me is pretty bouncy and funny and, dare I say, cute when it gets going. But, you know, the other side of me, as those people who know me well know, I have an equally strong part of me that is pretty black and white. And that's what I believe, that's what I don't believe. These are my boundaries. Boom, 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 right? And so I call that my backup style. Do you know what I mean? So if I'm happy and everything's going to plan and I'm a happy little camper, this one personality is there. But things start to go wrong. When I say go wrong, but, you know, if I don't feel comfortable, if I feel threatened, if I feel abused or used or any of those sort of things, I'm certain you know what I'm talking about. My backup style is pretty solid. I hold my ground pretty solidly when I am in that state. Now, here's the thing that I found out. If you look at what I'm wearing today, it sort of goes with that bubbly side of my personality, because what I'm wearing may be a pretty plain top, but I've got a cuddly sweater on. And that, now that you think about it, probably goes with that personality. Right? It's not too harsh, not too solid, not too... It's sort of teddy bear stuff. And warm. So you can tell how I'm feeling today. Now what I'm going to do is, during the week, I'm going to talk a little bit more about what I'm wearing and why I chose what I'm wearing for the day. Because it's really quite interesting how we choose our clothes to go with how we're feeling emotionally. So now I know a lot of you going, no, I don't sell, I just pull whatever happens to be in the closet. And what I'm saying, ideally, is this what you would like to wear? And that really is what stunned me, really stunned me, is that although I am this one personality type, I buy my clothes for the other personality type, with the exception, funnily enough, of things like this cardigan and a few other things. So I'm inclined to dress what they call like a red, and that is pretty classical styles, pretty well cut, if I can afford it, you know what I mean, very tailored look, which is very interesting. I never realized that before, that I dress for my backup personality. Now, it's not a bad thing, because I look good in this. And that's not saying that I don't look good in a cuddly sweater. And if you notice, I'm wearing pearls with my cuddly sweater. So, I wonder if this is making any sense to everybody. So we can actually dress for our personality, and if we do, we're probably more congruent, if you like. Now, what I'm going to do is, the next time I'm wearing the blacks and the reds and everything else, I'm going to talk to you about why I've got the combination together that I have. But the good news that I really found was that I learned something about myself, and that's why I recommend to all of you, if you ever get a chance to go into a store that gives that ability. For example, in Laura's, you can actually book an appointment, and a stylist will actually walk through the whole of that process with you. Okay, this is your shape. This is why these colors will suit you better. This is why, you know, they'll spend a bit of time getting to know your personality a bit. And this is why this will work and that will work. So it's really very well worthwhile, because it will stop you wasting a fortune on clothes that you will wear once and then wonder, why did I buy them? I cannot tell you how many flowery tops I have bought in my life that seemed like a good idea at the time, and I've worn them once or twice. And then I throw them away or give them away. Now, the interesting thing is, I have one flowery top that's black and white and grey, and I actually do wear that quite a lot, because it's within that realm of colors that I feel most comfortable in. Now, this is my grey and cream side, goes to the bubbly side, the little kid. Very interesting stuff to study. So I recommend, if you can find a store that does it, and preferably do it at a time when you actually need some clothes. Now, the other thing, of course, that they were busy talking about was most of us have got way too many clothes. Boy, was that interesting when you think about what my project was last weekend. And this is how to sort out your clothes as well. When you think about it, when I went through my clothes, guess what I hung on to? I hung on to the clothes that suited that backup personality, and a few things that suited the kid. Now, you're probably wondering, well, Sal, if the kid is the bigger part of you, why do you not buy more clothes that are soft and cuddly? Think about it. Well, you know, the point is that soft and cuddly is my performer. If I say my performer, it's only half of my personality. The same way as let me try and give an example of this. You know, my halogen died, and Linda in the UK is saying, well, it's probably just the bulb. Why don't you research it, get a bulb online, and replace the bulb? Now, that part of me that is pretty clear-cut goes, yeah, in the time that it takes me to do that, I could go down to the store, pick up a new one for under $100 and be done. And listen to it, the kid would be really happy because you know I'm going to buy a different model so that I can compare the one to the one that I've just had. So the kid in me wants to go buy a new one, Linda. I want to play with a new one. I know what the old one does. Now, I wonder if that makes sense, personality-wise. Hope so. Word of the day. Two words. Who cares? It's not that sort of day. Bye-bye for now.